12 hours.
Yeah.
Are you going to do the video, Lawrence? Or do I do it? Or do we not do it at all?
I think we're live.
Oh, shoot, we're live. We're not doing it.
Tequila Talk, we're live. Cliff Schechter, get your fucking act together. It's Tequila Talk. Hey, man.
Right? Like I had 2 shows today, right? And we were all at State of the Swamp, and we're exhausted, me and Joe. But folks, great Tequila Talk tonight. We're going to talk about the various tequilas we are drinking and why they are awesome. We're going to talk about, we have to talk now about Trump threatening an emergency to shut down the midterms. Joe had a speech about that the other night. It's one of the best freaking speeches I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, shit.
And I'm not even exaggerating. Joe, you were, dude, whatever drugs you were taking, take them again. But we're going to go into like, what was the difference between State of the Swamp and State of the Union? Yeah. Because I felt like that was where we could actually have some fun. Yeah. So we're going to do that. I think we need to right away start by just saying, well, we've already done our welcome to Tequila Talk because I screwed it up at the beginning with Cliff Schechter and Joe Walsh. But hey, we're going to say this. Tequila is cheaper than therapy, which is the same I just learned. And we're going to now, we have to do a shot, don't we?
Oh, we have to do a shot. Cliff, what are you drinking?
I've got, where is the front? So I've got Patron. I got some good stuff this week after the.
I have Tierra Noble.
Ooh.
Pretty good
pronunciation. Very good. Cheers to you. That makes it all go better.
Can I make a serious point as we start and you start our agenda?
Yeah.
The reason I like doing this with you is you and I are good friends. Politically, we're very different. We're good friends. We're on the same fucking side. And I love that. We're also just different, like personality wise. We are equally passionate about this fucking country and about what's happening right now. I tend to just be grab my musket, fuck you, Trump, and fire.
Yeah.
You are a good balance to that because you're every bit as passionate as I am. But you can do it with levity, you can do it with a twinkle, and you can deliver that same message. That's what I love about the combination.
Well, thank you for that. I would argue, and at some point, people are going to have to get a taste of it and see it. No pun intended. Taste of tequila, yes. Taste of, we'll do it a little bit later this show because I'll have a surprise for Joe. We're gonna see a little bit of his speech from the other night. We have to, Joe. Because you did it with levity, because you found a way, even when you were saying serious stuff, to just kind of sit there and like laugh about it, and like in other words, to smile, to bring the crowd in. Like I said to people afterwards, and again, this isn't going to just be a large, pardon my whatever, folks, circle jerk of me and Joe saying how much we love each other. We could do that anywhere. I mean, we were doing that the other night at the. Okay. No,
yes, we were.
But it's not that. It's that if the Republican, throw Republican aside because it's a dead word. Yeah. If the center right or more conservative party in this country were sane, if we had one of those, you with the speech you gave last night, we talked about certain issues, and we disagree. At least the ones we talked about, we disagree to certain degrees. We're not like this. I'm sure there are somewhere like this. And you were like, you reminded me of that was a center right that I could get behind at a point in my life. That even if I didn't vote for them, I could support them working with Democrats to do what was right. And now we've all come to this where it's fucking crazy people. Let's get into telling people what we got for them. So, and then I'll tell Joe again why I love him. But essentially. Look, the whole idea behind this, folks, is that this is a happy hour. We're going to have to talk about some serious stuff, but hopefully I can do what Joe says I can do because it's Thursday, happy hour, tequila. Let's get you to the weekend. Let's get through this crazy week and make it to the weekend. It's what the whole idea behind this show is that Joe and I love tequila, became good friends, and love talking politics together, laughing, making fun of each other, but also like let's enjoy our tequila, together, and everybody else out there. Drink responsibly, of course, but join.
Cliff, that's a really important point you make because you and I go 24/7. We're in this thing, doing this every fucking day, and everybody listening to us feels the same. You have to take time to chill. You have to take time to laugh and enjoy so you can stay in the battle. We don't do enough of that.
No, we'll lose our minds if we
Yes.
don't, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, look, I can sit here at any moment and say, you know, Kash Patel is a little bowling ball garden gnome who jumps up and down and his man boobs shake, wearing a medal he didn't earn, getting drunk, looking like a fool, and also staring at you with the faraway eyes where you don't know if he's going to send you to a concentration camp over there or over there. We could do that. I just made that up, by the way, mostly.
It's good.
Thank you. I'm an asshole. Asshole for freedom, which is what I always say.
Yes.
But what, you know, we want to do that, and we want to like keep everybody enjoying their time here, and we're going to make fun of people. And Joe and I like to mock these fuckers, and that's why, again, for the first topic I wanted to get into, and I will make sure that.
By the way, before you get into your first topic, my Jewish brother.
Yes.
And I say that is with great affection because I am married to a lovely Jewish woman and I love the state of Israel. You know, my rule, my own rule. Yes, we can make fun of them and we can go after them with everything we've got. Because I come from MAGA, I go after Trump with everything I got. I'll go after my former Republican colleagues. I'll go after all my former right-wing media colleagues. As a rule, I will not pound Trump voters, because I used to be one.
Okay,
and I'm
fair.
trying to reach. But Cliff, that's just me. You don't have to do that.
No,
that's
no.
just me. I'm trying to reach them every week.
I go back and forth because there are times where I actually go after them, and there are times where I want to give credit to folks who, when you see they've come a long way and they've switched. So I'm not. I will say I'm not consistent on that.
No, but Cliff, it doesn't matter. We all have our jobs. I come from the MAGA base. So that's part of what I have to do. That's not what you have to do.
Right. Well, you know what I have to do? I have to give people sort of a contrast. And I want you to join in, you know, here when you do. I want you to picture this, folks. There was this unbelievable, just like slow motion train wreck doesn't do it justice. Chemical train wreck, like in East Palestine, Ohio, or wherever that crash was, because they deregulate. In any case, like a chemical train wreck of Donald Trump and like whatever that mix of goo and makeup and crap is on his face the other day, of just the vitriol, the evil, the anger. It went on for fucking an hour and 48 minutes, like literally. That honestly is something I'm surprised they don't use to force people to off themselves. They, you know, he had nothing of substance. He lied constantly. He tried to insult Democrats enough that some Democrats got up and I heard Mark Warner just got up and walked out. He already had the lowest ratings ever of in terms of, well, the lowest number of opposition party there, 36% approval rating per CNN, lowest rated SOTU ever. We got more people at ours.
Yeah.
And you know why we got more people at ours, Joe? Because we were happy. We were united. We were having fun. There were people there in various stations. I mean, shit, Robert De Niro walks in and I'm just like, you know, I just wanted, like, I want to spout out some dialogue for, I don't know, pick any movie, right? I want him to be Capone. There's a lot of talking to badge, you know, or whatever. But he just gets up there. I don't think he had to say anything. The gravitas is just emanating, right? And, but in between, my point is that he's sort of royalty, but like, you know, you are a former congressman. I'm some schmuck who worked on campaigns. There are people there, you know, who are journalists, who are creators, who are, and we all got together constantly. You know, and we're taking pictures. Ellie Leonard came along.
I love Ellie Leonard. Love Ellie Leonard.
Hey, Lawrence, should we show the picture? Because we have a great picture.
You have a picture?
Look at that.
Oh.
We got Ellie over on the left. We got Brian Karam, that crazy fucker. I love about Brian too. He's the funniest guy. He's hilarious.
He's like,
and yet he's the one who asked Trump the question when he was that Jack Smith used in his filing. Like, will you accept the results of the election? And Trump wouldn't answer him.
Bingo.
That's what Brian Karam got done. I'm the jackass in the middle there with that shit-eating grin on my face. And then look at Joe. I mean, if you were to say to somebody, do a GQ pose. Joe is like, he's got the political, like.
Yeah, I'm like 110 pounds there, Cliff.
And there's his, you are?
I look like a skeleton.
Why is that? Just
I got to put some beef on me.
Well, you're going to hit the gym. And then we had and Joe and Joe's beautiful wife Helen, and I shouldn't even just put it that way. Beautiful, accomplished state representative. I'm sure she's done a million other things I don't know about, but I've talked to her. Brilliant, awesome, and
that's a great pick. That's a great pick.
As much as I love you, like you're better 3/4.
Completely.
And what so this is one group. At other times he was like Lev Parnas and Waj Ali and like Kurt Bardella, and I don't know. I don't want to even do more of this because I'll name some people and not name others. And
and Cliff, this is important. If everybody knows, at this alternative event, the State of the Swamp, man, it wasn't just Democrats. There were Democrats, independents, former Republicans. You had the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson. I spoke after Oregon Senator Ron Wyden. I mean, there was Dan Goldman from New York City, congressman. There were some great folks there.
Yeah. Hey, Joe. Hey, Joe. That's a good song, by the way. Lawrence, can you let's remove that for now so I can see Joe, if that's okay. A little bit. All right, there we are. Ooh, we're small now. Oh, there we go. And so like, here's the thing, folks. One of the key things that was there, the Portland Frog Brigade, and I wrote about this today. And what was so important to me about that was because the frogs are a symbol, their happiness. They're us mocking him for being part of the swamp, mocking him for the with these tailless amphibians, of which I've just learned there's over 3,700 types. You learn stuff when you write.
Wow.
Did you know that?
No.
I didn't know that. And only the monkey frog, by the way, for all of you out there licking frogs, just drink tequila instead because.
Hey, new rule, by the way, new show rule. Every time one of us says tequila, we got to take a sip.
I think that is a brilliant rule.
Continue.
So because only the monkey frog has the hallucinogenic properties, guys.
Wow.
So unless you know your frogs well, all you're doing is licking slime 3,699 other times. So make sure you know what you're doing. But this is what I found most compelling, which is a group of frogs is not a herd, is not a school, is not other words that aren't coming to me, but it's called an army.
Seriously?
Yes. I looked it up.
That's cool.
We were an army, and that is what I felt like we were in that room where we were getting better ratings than the president of the United States. And I don't say that because I'm like him. Oh, my ratings, they were great. My ratings. I'm saying it because, motherfucker, we got better ratings than you because I know it upsets you. To us, it just mattered that people got the message.
It was, right? Cliff, it was a great resistance event, and I love this whole resistance thing. And again, I tend to be Johnny One Note. I'm grab your musket, we're at war, and that's what I did for 3 minutes. But it was good for me to see the happiness and sometimes the silliness and making fun of him and all of that, because that's not what I do. So it was a great balance.
You hear that, Joe? There for a second, something came on in the background, and that's only because I want to make sure that the folks at at Blue Sky know where to watch us. And I hadn't finished promoting because, as you and I said, nobody. What goes into all this, folks? I got to tell you. You think you look at someone. I'll talk about Joe more because he's much more famous than I am. You look at someone like Joe, and you're just like, oh my god, he must be rich as hell because people know who he is and have all this staff and whatever. You guys, most of us, unless we're like The Rock or something, it doesn't really matter what level you are. You can't afford most of that stuff. So we have like a few people, and otherwise, I mean, if Lawrence weren't here, this whole operation would fall apart for me. I'm lucky I could have him here and a few others, but like we're here. That's why we were talking about promoting it. So, okay. So that the first thing was us versus them, right? They're angry. They're cultish. Didn't like that loser, was it Troy Nels, whatever his loser name is?
Did you see that? Was it Sign My Tie? Sign My Tie?
Sign My Tie.
Yeah.
Did you get put in a locker in high school? I'm not in favor of bullying, but in this case, I think I am. I think he should have been bullied. I mean, Joe, you were in this party. I'm just going to say, you're cool. You like have a sense of yourself. Who are these losers? Like, what is wrong with them?
So, Cliff, that's a great question. And as a former Republican and a former member and somebody who knows almost all these guys, I don't want to ever say I'm surprised, but every day I'm still surprised that all of them do what they do, get down on their knees and like suck his toes.
Yep.
Like it still to a degree surprises me.
Yeah.
Right.
I wanted to also, it's pathetic, but you should know you should be upset because whoever this is says, I have no idea who either of these two, what did you say, two are lame channel.
I'm so glad he's with us. Stick around.
I'd like to thank you, the 9QGP or whatever your name is. You have added some important context to our conversation. I love bringing them in and just mocking them because, oh, look, high school. Oh, he's still coming at us. Definitely leave him here, Lawrence, because I want to have fun with him and all the other fools the rest of the show.
Cliff, you know what? This is this is an important point because what I'm finding, I don't know if you are on Substack and some of the platforms that MAGA doesn't typically get on, they're getting on now.
They are.
I'm getting a lot more hate and threats and ugliness, even on Substack.
Yeah.
Whereas a few months ago, they weren't there. They're infiltrating a lot of these other platforms.
They are. And I should have said to Lawrence and Jim who also moderates, and Cynthia, to all of you, my rule from now on is this. Anybody, obviously, if they get to a point where they're offending our audience and they're threatening or whatever, kick them out. Otherwise, please let them stay so we can make fun of them. Like if they're just pathetic people, I want to have fun with them. So
see, and this is a great difference between Schechter and Walsh. And I love it because that's you and you got to be true to you. I love keeping these people on unless they're dangerous and belligerent, get them off. But I love to keep them on because I love to try to engage with them.
That's cool.
But either way,
here's the thing. If somebody, to me, I guess maybe, it's interesting where we all sort of put that line. If somebody comes in here, and by the way, drink tequila because it's been too long.
You said tequila.
I'm just going to start randomly saying it. I appreciate that, by the way. Jim is saying okay, and obviously not if they're racist or abusive or anything like that. Only if they're just being their dumb selves. I put the line at the people who try to engage with me, and they can even be snarky and whatever. I will engage with Trump folks like that. If somebody just sort of comes at me and they're quite obviously,
what's this one say?
Do either of you have something substantive to talk about other than gossip? Well, I mean, if you'd like, we could talk about the fact that over the last 35 years, 97% of the jobs have been created under Democratic presidents. I bet you didn't know that. You could look that up and find it out. We could also talk about the fact that Donald Trump's illegally gone to war in Venezuela and now illegally wants to go to war in Iran. We talk about the fact that Donald Trump has bankrupted every company he's ever started, including casinos. My friend, the house always wins. Taj Mahal, you walk in, you give your money to somebody and they just give you chips back. They gave Trump money for nothing. And they pump oxygen in there to keep you awake, ply you full of drinks to get you drunk, no windows or clocks, so you pay attention to anything else. You just sit there and gamble, and the house always wins, except for when Donald Trump owns the fucking house. Then the house burns down.
We can talk about the fact that last year, for the first time since 1935, more people left America than came here. And these are not just deportations and immigrants. No. These are Americans leaving.
These are actually, there's stats on some of them, well-educated, the types of folks you will have in growing job sectors, computer science, engineering, those, a lot of the areas we have, they're moving to like, they're paying people in small towns in Italy now for productive Americans to come and bring their jobs over.
We don't talk about this enough, Cliff. People do not want to come here to visit. People do not want to come here to vacation. People do not want to come here to work. People do not want to come here to go to school. People don't want to come here to be an American. All right. People believe it's unsafe to come here. MAGA, that's the country that Trump has created. And by the way, I'm tired of just saying Trump created this shit. Trump's created an America that people are afraid of, want nothing fucking to do with.
If you were watching this, would you come?
Party too.
If you're living in Western Europe, Japan, Canada, Australia, all these places, would you come to this country if you saw the images of what ICE is doing, and you've heard these stories of German girls that were locked up for like a month and who did nothing. God, now that I know about it, German teenagers, I would have been scared, frankly. If I would have been like, where's the Epstein brigade? Oh, by the way, that's another fact. Donald Trump actually appears, oh, well, no, not over 1 million times. I want to be accurate, unlike you guys, 950,000 times. That's more times than Jesus is in the Bible. And then Donald Trump is in his own book that he didn't write. So those are facts you can deal with if you'd
Cliff,
like.
I love that. And again, everything I just said there when I went off is backed by data. People are no longer right now coming to America. They don't want to come here. Every statistic backs it up. They're afraid to come here. They want nothing to do with us. They're not investing in America. They're not doing business in America. I mean,
because you invest where there's a rule of law, right? Would you trust the rule of law here right now?
Marie just said, stop your vulgar talk. Who is vulgar?
I don't know what she's fucking talking about.
It's probably Cliff. Maria wouldn't have been me.
Maria, what the fuck are you talking about? How are we vulgar? What shit that we're...
And by the way, Marie, I mean no disrespect, but
I actually don't either. I just making a joke that she called me vulgar, so I thought I'd curse.
And I said this in my remarks the other night. I'm not gonna apologize for saying fuck. To me, swearing is caring. I swear because I care. I love this country and I despise what he and my former party are doing to it. So I'm going to swear.
Me too. You know why? I'm going to swear too, because the same reason as you, and also because you know what's fucking vulgar? What's fucking vulgar is showing up, grabbing a 5-year-old away from his dad, basically tormenting him because of it, and then using him as bait when you take him to his parents' place to try to get people to leave the house. That's un-American and it's fucking vulgar. Do you know what's vulgar? Shooting somebody 10 times, including 3 times in the back on the street after you've disarmed them in a state where you guys have passed concealed carry and he has a legal permit and every right to be holding a gun, and then you claim he's a terrorist, and somehow what he was doing when he was shielding a woman, they were mercilessly pepper spraying in the eyes. That's vulgar. Venezuela, where a grandmother is sitting there in her apartment. I wish I still remember Rosario, I believe is the last name, just enjoying herself, blown to smithereens. The family loses her because what? Because Trump just had to show he's a tough guy. What's going on with Maduro? Do we have any of that oil he supposedly wasn't getting? No, none of the oil companies even had a plan from him. It's this thick kind of oil they can't even extract. They would have to.
Cliff,
yeah.
I'll give you one more thing that's vulgar. A week ago, Border Patrol agents dumped a blind Burmese refugee who was in this country legally. Our Border Patrol agents dumped him on a street corner in Buffalo, miles from his home. Did I tell you he was blind, didn't speak English? Border Patrol just dumped him. He was missing for 5 days. They found him dead 2 days ago, frozen somewhere on the street.
They murdered him. That's fucking vulgar. And that I'll curse about. You know what? Fuck compared to any of the things we just mentioned or any other word that anyone might find vulgar.
Preach, brother, preach.
I'm going to go one step further than that. And I hope I said this in an earlier show. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. Virginia Giuffre, who's dead because she committed suicide. An aide to Tony Gonzalez, who's dead because he had an affair with her while he's the guy who has 6 kids and supposedly is this paragon of Catholicism, is cheating on his wife with her. And I don't know what he did to break up with her. And she ends up killing herself. But the lives of, what do we know now? At least 1,000, something like that. Young girls who Donald Trump, Howard Lutnick, Alan Dershowitz, Elon Musk, who please, can I go to Epstein Island? All of them, allegedly, I'll just say, because it hasn't been proven in court, even though we have pictures and things like that, that is obscene. And more obscene is right now, which I was going to get to this at some point, so let's get to it now, what is fucking vulgar. What is vulgar is that Donald Trump...
Keep going.
No, tequila, drink.
Oh, yeah. Before you get to your final one, can I just make one request to Lawrence?
Yeah.
Can he's only putting up people who hate us. Hey Lawrence, can you put up just if you get a message from somebody who's loving us right now? I'd love to get some love.
Is there anybody out there who likes us?
Is there anybody out there?
Ooh, I peddle more manure.
Here he goes again. Lawrence. Delete. Somebody just called us assholes.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh my God.
Hey, Lawrence, can you put up it seems like there's a lot of trolls here, and that's okay.
Oh, there we go. I love you.
But let's get some of the folks who are saying nice things. And maybe some of the Blue Amp team could come here.
Hey, Cliff, let me make one other serious point before you get to your final point. There's a big difference in this whole Epstein thing that doesn't get talked enough about. Every single Democrat, from the moment this thing hit, the Epstein files, every single Democrat said, open them all up, get it all the fuck out there, get every name out there, Republican, Democrat. I don't care who they are. If they abused, raped underage girls, young girls, man, exposed Bill Clinton, anybody, doesn't matter to me who you are.
Of course.
Every Democrat has said that.
And did you notice who was testifying today? Hillary Clinton.
Yes.
Right. Because Donald Trump has no balls, apparently. Hillary has more courage in her pinky than Donald Trump or Howard Lutnick or any of these people. She's not scared of them because she's got nothing to hide, which none of you can ever understand.
Every Democrat has said, expose them all. Every Republican has gone out of their way to keep Trump hidden.
Because
that's a huge difference, guys.
Yes. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go.
Because if you look at these people we're talking about, something I also spoke about earlier today on the other show I was on, as human beings, you have children, grandchild. I have children. If you look at them as human beings and not like statistics, from the famous Stalin line, one death is a tragedy, a million is a statistic. If you don't bring them up, and you bring it up, it's that Virginia Giuffre, an example. What were her hopes and dreams? A young woman growing up, wanted to accomplish God knows what. Who knows what she would have accomplished? Maybe she would have been a nuclear scientist. Maybe she would have gotten us to I don't know, Saturn. Maybe she would have written the best poem of all time. Maybe
killed herself.
In the end, she was raped by monsters, by billionaire, mostly Trump supporting. I'm going to point out because it's an authoritarian mindset, and there are exceptions. Bill Gates, I don't care. Helped solve malaria.
No, you're right. You're right, Cliff. But yeah, full disclosure. Look, the world's biggest, most powerful elites were all pals with Epstein. There are huge names: Republican, Democrat, Independent. You name it.
I only pointed out the fact that most of them are Republican and Trump type folks because there's an authoritarian mindset to a person who will molest a young girl or rape a woman or will. And we've legalized this, and again, I don't know if you and I disagree on this or whatever. And I consider myself a capitalist, but I'm a Teddy Roosevelt one who understood that trusts were as dangerous to a functioning capitalist society as communism. Because when you get all of the power in a couple of companies, so only 3 companies control this, they can do anything. And it screws consumers. So in the end, you have all these private equity CEOs. Did somebody insult us?
You eat one baby and suddenly you're a monster.
Okay, somebody's being sarcastic and funny.
Love that. That's good. That's clever.
So, and we need to get to that. By the way, that charge I was going to bring up that's in there with him because with Trump because it's worse than all the other stuff. But what to me. The private equity thing. Newt Gingrich may have had the best ad against Mitt Romney of all time, where he called him a vulture capitalist, had these guys standing up on stage. Private equity came in. This used to be illegal, by the way, before the 1980s. They came in. This is not creating something, Joe, and being a capitalist. I would argue to the end about this. They come in, they prey on a company, they dump debt on it, they use its assets to borrow against, then dump the debt there, pay themselves back with everybody's pensions, and destroy the company.
Hey, Cliff,
that is being a predator.
I'm a free market guy. And when you have concentrated wealth and you have big corporations that are monopolies and the like, that's not free market.
Exactly. Because you've got so much leverage. It's no longer about who produces the best product. It said, well, you've got to use Amazon for this, so now you got to use them for that. And so, okay, so you're with me because that was Teddy Roosevelt, and that's why, like, he's always been my favorite because again, he came from a moderate, conservative perspective on economics. He argued what was best for a capitalist system, and you know what? The other thing, a large inheritance tax because. Yes, Republicans argue for you can argue on that, but Republicans argued for years on how welfare makes people lazy. Well, I got something to say to all of them. Let me introduce you to Donald Trump. Let me Junior. Let me introduce you to Meghan McCain. Let me introduce you to all of the rest of the Trumps. But let me introduce you to every second and third generation idiot who's been left a ton of money. Ellison's buying up stuff. Smith's over at Sinclair. And yes, there are liberal ones too. They don't have to earn it. They don't have to. I'm not saying take all their money, but a reasonable inheritance tax. I'm really not, Joe. But a reasonable.
But see, what's cool about this? This is just one issue where you and I utterly disagree. I don't believe in the inheritance tax at all. But we don't have time.
I'm ready to go fight you now.
But again, bigger, broader point, Cliff. That's one really important policy issue. Cliff and I completely disagree. So what?
Right, and somehow we're still here talking to each other. It's crazy.
Amen.
The big thing is because I want to get to something else is today. And it's come out over the last 24 hours. David Schuster helped break some parts of it on our show earlier today, whatever. We have Donald Trump. And in the Epstein files, we have a complaint by a 13-year-old. This is there, this was out already, but it's what's coming up after this, who claims she was raped by Donald Trump. And then Donald Trump was there when he impregnated her. This is just so horrible. And then when she was with her uncle on Lake Michigan, Donald Trump was there witnessing it as her uncle killed the newborn. Now, for a party that says it's pro-life, and for a party that says it was making up something about after-birth abortions, which isn't a thing, that's called murder. You can't have an abortion after birth, and accusing Democrats of that the last election. But what did we just hear there? Now, do we know for a fact that happened? We do not, but we know that there's a real 13-year-old who accused him of that multiple times. She came out, and we've had now three different, that's just what David brought up today, three different 13-year-olds, including Katie Johnson, who went to court and filed a claim and then was threatened and pulled it back, have accused Donald Trump. So here we have this one in the Epstein files. What do you do if you have that? I mean, that is more than enough to start an investigation when Trump's name appears in that as many times. So Democrats actually finally got some spine, stood up and got in Pam Bondi's face and said, have you started an investigation? And what we discovered out of it is, and I'm not a lawyer, is, there weren't duplicates. So if with this thing missing, there were three possibilities that there could be. And one of those three possibilities is that they're already investigating Trump over this. And they could be, since all we know, before he got in. But they could have started. I'm sure that Pam Bondi by now will have ended it. But they could have been investigating him. That's one reason you don't release a file. Obviously, they also could have disappeared it.
So I'm just going to make 2 points. Everything Cliff just said are accusations against Trump.
Correct.
Right?
That should lead to an investigation. None of that's been proven.
They are in the public database of the Epstein files. Accusations by at least one 13-year-old who was interviewed by the FBI extensively in 2019, who said Trump raped her and beat her when she was 13. By the way, and the other important point, these are allegations, accusations. You're right, Cliff, that you would think would demand an investigation. But the other really important point is those 53 missing pages involve one of these women.
That's correct.
Completely gone. All referred to in the database. Then you go look for them. The 53 pages of FBI interviews and notes are now missing, all having to do with that then 13-year-old girl.
Yep.
I mean, that's
you have to. I mean, that's what I'm saying. This is, stuff out of 70s movies like The Parallax View, and like, 3 Days of the Condor. I mean,
That's
this
a great
is like,
movie.
I mean, this stuff, great. It was a great movie. They filmed part of it near where I grew up. And apparently my parents took me out and I met Robert Redford when I was 2, but I don't remember that. But I got to meet him later on at a Democratic event and he was awesome and we miss him. Okay. So,
Just Cliff, this again. You and I are a good combo. It's because you're so well versed on the facts and the details. But just the bigger picture, like when you pull yourself above the clouds, what we know is there are serious allegations against Trump and a lot of potential evidence against Trump that he's likely a pedophile.
correct.
Right? That's a fact.
In context matters here. He's a convicted felon. Jack Smith had a pretty good case against him before it got ended, and he is also an adjudicated rapist against E.G. and Carol. So it's not like, oh, totally new type behavior. Now, he bragged about loving owning these pageants so he could sneak in and watch 14 and 15-year-olds change. That's on the public record. He said it on Howard Stern. And the last one, Joe, I'll say again, because it does need to be said again. Katie Johnson, who filed that lawsuit, that is in the public domain too. She was 13 and in 2016 filed a lawsuit against Trump that he had raped her. And in the end, we know there are certain people out there who were threatening these people. And she and her lawyer said, due to fears for her safety, she pulled it back. But she was willing to come out and put it in the public realm. So are these proof yet? They are not, but there's so much there to investigate.
Again, to Cliff's point, guys, everybody, bigger picture, there are serious allegations and accusations against Trump that he's a pedophile. There's evidence in there. Fact number 2 is Donald Trump initiated and has orchestrated an utter cover-up of these files. Now, with those 2 facts, that there are serious accusations against Trump, and Trump is covering up the Epstein files, it's mind-blowing. Well, we don't have a Congress and we don't have a Justice Department, that there's no investigation at this point.
Yep. I mean, again, I don't know if they can do it based upon, I'm not a lawyer, but some of these state attorneys general who have come together to say they will no longer allow ICE to, if they break laws in their jurisdictions, they will arrest them. Can you also come together? Florida is never going to help, of course, but in some of the states Trump was in, he was in New York. He was in various other ones, and maybe see if we can get some state charges against him on this, because I'd have to think he was breaking state law when he was doing these things.
What we know, Cliff, is there's no fucking way this Justice Department will investigate the Justice Department. Right. That ain't gonna happen. Yeah.
No, they won't. So that's why we have to do it a different way. So that was the down sort of segment that we had to do. But
it's important.
I want to start the up segment with, if Lawrence, let's go to the videotape, my friend.
Oh, God.
No, I mean it. And I want everybody, as I close, I want everybody, and I apologize for my language, but I want everybody to repeat after me.
Fuck him!
First?
That was me.
Careful, we've got cameras. I want you to repeat after me as loud as you can. I apologize, but you know what? I don't apologize. This is an unprecedented moment.
That's why I love you.
So, repeat after me. Not yet. Fuck Trump. The midterms are happening. Ready? Big and loud and proud. 1, 2, 3. Fuck Trump. The midterms are happening. Give it up for Joe Walsh.
And then I passed out. I went into that room, Cliff, and I just fell down. I fell down.
Did you really? I mean, no. I saw you after that. So you got honestly, Joe, I don't want to sit here because I would bore people with be like, let me as a communications professional sit here and talk to you about the rhetorical. Joe, we only showed, that was what I took, and I decided to show people the last 30, 45 seconds. But if you want to go out there, folks, I know at least Helene on her Twitter account put the whole thing up there. You honestly gave one of the best speeches I've ever seen live. The rhetoric, you instinctively know when to draw back for a second, like the way the way you sort of said, okay, there's cameras, blah, blah, blah. I don't give a shit or whatever, you did there where you're just like, oh, no, I don't apologize. Like you go forward, when to slow, like your pacing is brilliant. You know how to kind of do it with a smile on your face. So you're communicating to everybody in the audience that there should be laughter, even though you're talking about serious stuff. You've got so much enthusiasm. You look like you're about to explode. Like, honestly, I've had one or two candidates like that. Anywhere in that realm I've worked for, that's my dream candidate to work for in a race. Who can get up on a stage and do that.
Cliff Schechter, I probably can never be a candidate again because I ain't got a home, brother. I ain't got a home.
We got to figure it out because, a couple of these, as I said to you, a couple of these guys, was it Osborne, the one running in Nebraska as an independent, and there's one in South Dakota. Hey, if you didn't run as a Democrat, you run as an independent.
Hey, Cliff.
From a state like that, it's like, I wouldn't even have to, because obviously I support you. I love you. I disagree with you on some things. It'd be tougher for me to be like, yeah, let's have Joe be the senator from New York and lose votes on things I believe strongly in. But a place like that, I mean, where we're not getting anything, I'd come out there, I'd fucking fight. I'd kick down every wall. I'd do whatever the hell I could for you.
Cliff, by the way, that's a great point. So I became a Democrat. It's not my job to go back to my hometown of Chicago or Illinois and to run in a blue district. I couldn't represent a blue district. That's why I've never liked the idea of George Conway going back to one of the most progressive districts in New York City. George is a conservative like me to represent.
Yeah, I don't know George personally. I'll say this. I don't see how he beats Schlossberg in that.
Well, that district deserves a progressive rep. My job as a conservative Dem is to do what Cliff just said. If I'm ever going to run, go into a red district, a red state, try to broaden the tent. That's my job.
You should do that. And you may not want to do it as an independent because you joined the Democrats now. But if you did it that way, maybe because again, so much of this propaganda is just sort of turned the letter D into something that clearly, if you're a Democrat and Adam Kinzinger is a Democrat and George Conway is a Democrat, clearly it's not what they're saying it is. There are some people that far to the left. There's a big mixture of people. We're not a cult. That's how it goes.
Last point on that speech. That was 3 minutes. And I got really fucking wound up. But Cliff, we've talked about this. My biggest beef of my new party and my biggest beef, even of a lot of never Trumpers, they don't fucking understand this moment and they don't have the courage to speak to this moment. That's all I was trying to do. Was I felt like I was speaking to all of us who are so fucking fed up. Let's have the courage to call this out for what it is.
Yep. But I would say this, and you're right. I mean, Democrats, I've gone over, I feel like, with you many times. We could do it again, but we don't have a ton of time left with you on here. And me on here, to be honest. I want to me, it's yes, I that upsets me, but I try to find the positive.
Yeah.
We have Miles Taylor, who put together the event, who is
fantastic,
a happy warrior, who's got charisma in the manner in which you do, is just a likable guy. Yeah. It's fantastic. We had Kurt Bardella there, who I love, who snuck up and made me pay for a drink for JoJo, and I'm going to kick his ass for that if you're watching Kurt.
JoJo from Jersey was there.
Yep, that's right. Well, Kurt walked up and he said, JoJo forgot her wallet somewhere, and Kurt was like, "We need to be gentlemen. Cliff's rich; he'll pay for your drink." I'm like,
"Boom, he got you."
He did well. But Reed Galen, who I love, who may be the left of me now, quite honestly. Unlike you, he's like, I used to debate his dad, Rich, on Fox and MSNBC 20 years ago, and now Reed and I are friends. And those are just a couple. Yes, there are some that are wimps. I don't know Adam Kinzinger personally, and I don't agree with him on his take on the word fuck. But I will say, Adam has seemed like he stood up. He took a risk.
Adam's a warrior.
So there are people there are never Trumpers who are doing that, and they deserve the credit because the other way would have been so much easier. Completely. So much easier.
I wouldn't be sitting here on this podcast, whatever this is, talking to Cliff Schechter. If I'd have stayed
This
with
fucking
Trump,
communist
man,
Jew.
I'd be a gazillionaire doing all the pro MAGA media. I'd be
That's
a
right.
zillionaire.
Oh, you would be. Damn it.
Instead, I'm with.
Can you
Cliff
go back and pretend I'll be your agent? Because I'm Jewish.
Hey, do me a favor. Tell me when I have to hop in a minute. You got a good final rant? What are you going to rant about?
What I already did, but I'm going to get angrier. Which is about the dehumanizing of folks like this 13-year-old girl,
good for
and
you.
how if we're going to be a just and decent society at all, you need to stop looking at them as cases or looking at them as numbers. They're people. They could be. I don't want to get into it now because it gets me.
Good for you.
I love my boys, and I have 2 sons, and like it gets me that anybody would look at it that way when somebody. Okay, I'm gonna stop myself.
Good. Stop. Good.
So the last thing that we were going to talk about on here was the hockey team and McDonald's, which is a great way. I'm sorry.
I said it. I said tequila.
Oh, you said tequila, and I poured myself some more.
All right, I got 3 minutes. Go.
So this asshole, being Jabba the fucking black hole, the hockey team. We already have Kash Patel celebrating with them. These guys are so dumb, by the way, because they've now lost a lot of the country who were supportive of them before, and it's not because of politics. It's because when you invite Kash Patel in to celebrate with you like that, that's ludicrous. It's unbecoming of an FBI director. Right. It's unbecoming of that. And it's also, why turn this into a partisan moment? Why?
Bingo.
I wouldn't have wanted, pick anybody. I wouldn't have wanted Swalwell in there. I wouldn't have wanted
Cliff, you know why? Because Trump and my former party believe this, that stoking division is key to getting them elected. They believe that.
Oh, yeah. They're all into it. But okay, so they come to the White House. And again, I'm sure just because he's been mocked about it, which is why the elite would never accept Trump and he hated it. And I'm not saying the elite are so wonderful, but I'm just saying it's why Trump is the way he is. He serves them McDonald's. This Big Mac eating motherfucker decides that a team of guys that have to be in like some of the most incredible human shape imaginable could come and eat McDonald's with him.
So
he served them burgers.
So my brother, we will close with a respectful disagreement. Forget about Trump.
Let's go. Yeah.
I could care. These boys who are elite athletes who train their asses off, they eat McDonald's, they eat everything. I had no problem with them eating McDonald's. That's America, baby. And I bet they had no problem.
They probably didn't either.
Trump aside.
I try to have fun and do all that stuff. I'd still find that unbecoming of it in the way I see it, just the way I saw what Kash Patel did. I think
what Kash Patel did was unbecoming.
Okay.
McDonald's is fine. But hey,
no. I want one more thing. This is one more thing that we're going to drink to before you leave. It's 6:47. You're not allowed to leave till 6:50. Okay.
Oh man. Okay.
Listen. Sometime around 10 years ago, I'm on Twitter and I'm noticing this Joe Walsh guy who I fucking hated. He's not liberal, right? But he's taking on Trump. He's pointing out where Trump is defying the Constitution. He's pointing out where other Republicans supporting Trump are defying the Constitution, are lying, are talking about taking away due process, which they've now done in many cases, are just the whole panoply of evil of everything that our Constitution isn't, everything that we aren't as Americans. And Joe starts speaking out, ends up costing himself pretty lucrative radio deal with Salem, Radio, because they could not have an independent-minded Republican on there because, God forbid, you not be in the cult. And Joe reached out to me immediately. I don't remember what I said. I said something nice about you. I'm like, wow. And you reached out to me and you literally sent me your phone number. I could be some asshole. I could have just shared your phone number with everybody.
I sent you my super duper secret cell phone number.
That's the one I call and breathe heavily into in the middle of the night now. Okay, seriousness. So you sent it to me and I called you and a friendship began.
Yes.
And it's gone over this period of time where we became good friends. We joked with each other. You would come on my show here and there. I'd go on yours, all that stuff. And we even create a show for our mutual love for tequila and laughing and trying to like do what you do, which is better than me to give you, which is get people to have conversations, get people to sort of open their minds. But it's important I say this. And honestly, for me, one of the biggest thrills, one of the most awesome moments, meeting you Tuesday night in person and just getting to freaking hang out with you.
We'd never met. We had never met
in person. Like friendships these days. And for a while there, you lived in Chicago, and I'm here in Cincinnati, 5 hours away or whatever, and yet we still hadn't met. And it was just honestly, it was such a blast.
It was
like
cool.
Not to say there were a couple other people I'd never met before. I knew, and that was amazing too. But you, like, it was awesome.
Right,
and that
back
to me, tequila, because that was worth drinking that night. That is worth drinking any night. Like getting the chance to hang out with you. We're doing that more.
Brother, right back at you. And I leave on a really positive note that you just brought up to everybody listening to us. And you've got a MAGA friend or a lefty friend or somebody you disagree. What Cliff and I did was we took our conversation offline and we privately began to talk.
Yep.
And we found out we liked each other. That's a really good thing to do, is to privately reach out to someone.
Because you're not performing for anybody anymore.
No.
There's anybody watching you. You're just
take it offline. Take it offline. That's how you can make inroads. Cliff Schechter, I love you, brother.
You're fantastic. It was awesome seeing you and great doing this show. And
thank you, Lawrence.
Lawrence, thanks, you sexy bastard. We're going to grow this show, baby, and keep doing it. It's awesome.
End this on a high note. Thanks, Cliff.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Take care. All right. So Joe has to go at 6:50 because, folks, if you want to become a paid subscriber to the Social Contract, and you'd be crazy not to, that's Joe's newsletter. He, for his paid subscribers, does a talk at 7. So now I get him nice and drunk. He can go in and do that. But you know what? I'm not even going to do an angry rant on this. I want to do more of a rant of who are we and who can we be, which is, as I said before, whether it's Virginia Giuffre, whether it's this aide to Tony Gonzalez, whether it's this gentleman that Joe brought up who ICE was blind and they took him away from his home and he was found frozen to death. What is wrong with us? And I'm going to answer my own question partially is we have learned to dehumanize people. We have learned through the various processes, through monopolies, through this government, this authoritarian, this fascist government under Trump. A lot of our culture over the last 30 years, as we've changed, we've learned to dehumanize individuals. And yes, we absolutely need to talk about the numbers. We need to know how many people, how many young girls were abused. We need to know how many different billionaire freaking freaks did that. But at the same time, we need to talk about these folks as they are, or it's easy to lose their humanity. They were people. They were human beings. Every one of those people, you see some goon from ICE breaking their window, kicking in their door, threatening them, shooting them in the head. Those are people. They have lives. They have dreams. They may not be you, but it's not all just me, me, me. It's not all about just what you want. It's not all just about what makes you happy. It's not just about what lowers your taxes. These are people. And we need to talk about them that way. Innocent young girls with Epstein, an innocent woman and man, and we've known now of others, young, and he hasn't been talked about enough, and it wasn't young, an African-American man murdered on New Year's Eve. They covered that up by ICE. They've lost their lives. And when you lose your life, when your life ends, you lose everything you ever were and you ever were going to be. When this little period of time we have here is over. That's it. Every dream you ever had, everything you ever wanted to accomplish has been taken from you by these billionaire predators, by these ICE goons, by Trump, the most corrupt fucking Jabba-esque, gelatin-esque, whatever alive. We need to talk about the victims, victims in some cases, survivors in other cases, as human beings. not just as statistics. We need to talk about who they were. We need to talk about what their dreams were. We need to talk about who they like to hang out with. What music did they like? What did they play? What games did they play? What was taken from us? What potential was taken from us? What had great lives that we'd already seen? We heard about that with Renee Good. What a terrific person she was. All of the people she helped. Had she just driven her child to school and was leaving there and felt she had to try to help protect people? Alex Preddy was shielding a woman who was being pepper sprayed so badly in her eyes she was blinded and in massive pain. That is American. That is being a person of substance. That is being somebody who has compassion. We need to get back to that. I'm tired of this. I mean, again, this is part of the right-wing media complex to make everything about what did the stock market do? Which, by the way, like, again, stock market's done well under numerous different presidents, folks. Whenever you bring that up under Donald Trump, I'll remind you that 97% of the jobs were created the last 35 years under Democratic presidents, and his job records suck and so much else about it. But again, when we sort of go to those factors, well, how's the stock market doing? And, you know, how are we doing? How's the labor market? Is there a shortage? No, that doesn't take the place of someone that we just saw die at the hands of goons who had no right under law, no right under our Constitution, who should be locked up right now and who should be getting tried for murder. When we were bombing boats in Venezuela and there were people cheering for it, and we now know for a fact that a lot of these folks, I don't know, can't say every single one, but first of all, if any of them were bringing drugs across desperately, and I would ask you to check on Ronnie Jackson's White House if you're going to be judgmental on drugs, by the way, we're probably trying to feed their families. But let's talk about the fishermen that were out there from Colombia, you know, from Nicaragua, from Panama, wherever they were from, that we just bombed their boats and murdered them and then went back a second time. They're human beings too. When you think about this, here's what I'm going to ask you. Think not just about the statistics, which we do need to think about. Think not just about the people, the number of people harmed, the number of people committing these acts, the ages of these men, the ages of women hurt, you know, the number of people that ISIS destroyed, all that. Yeah, that's all really important. But I'm going to ask you to think about these folks as who they were, as human beings. Maybe try to read something if you can. I get it if it's too hard, about what they enjoyed, what made them laugh. What made them cry? What did they like to do with their spare time? What were their jobs? Because when you can get to see other people as human beings, it's a lot harder to hate them. It really is. And it's also a lot easier to understand context in all of this, and not be like corporate media and report what Trump is actually doing, because he's destroying, he and the people he has enabled and the people that have enabled him are destroying lives. They're ending lives. They're wrecking lives. They're deporting people to countries they're not from. They may never get back. They may be put in CCOT in a torture chamber in El Salvador without any kind of a trial. But think about it with ICE. Think about it with the Epstein victims and survivors. Think about it with SNAP cut. So children are sitting there and their stomachs hurt because they're starving. Think about any number of these other issues. But in the end, as much as I get pissed off, and I do, and as much as I will go after MAGA scum, as I will, particularly the elected variety, yeah, we have to learn to look beyond that also at people. Joe is better than me at that, obviously, when it comes to these conversations. But you know what? I guess for me, when they become cultists is when they cease to be almost human beings, because they don't use their own brains anymore. Give me somebody that's kind of torn on Trump, who kind of isn't sure or whatever. I'd love to talk to them. Give me somebody who's leaning that way. I'd love to talk to them. Give me an independent now who knows Trump's awful, but I don't know if I can support Democrats. I'd love to talk to them. Humanize as many as you can, because you'll feel better. We'll all be better for it, and we'll have a more just society. That's the way to get there. That's the way, after we get past these guys, after our Truth and Reconciliation Committee or our Nuremberg trials, or what we need to get past this evil group of people, we do Reconstruction right this time. we get to a more perfect union where there is true equality and voting rights are protected and there are legitimate infrastructure spending based on tax rates on people making gazillions and that kind of thing. And we don't let billionaire predators live separate from the rest of us in helicopter places and then go to their little clubs and exploit the rest of us anymore. And that's when we'll know we've gotten to that better place we want to be at. So that's just what I wanted to end it with. Not as angry as I thought it would be, but hopeful. Hopeful that we can all do our best to do that and still fight the sons of bitches on the other side who would harm us, who would end our democracy. There can't be, that is one place when it comes to fighting the forces of evil where there can't be compassion. So, you know, when it comes to those that even are slightly doubting, sure, I'll find some and I'll try to talk to them. It comes to the people that are lined up against us to turn this country into Pinochet's Chile, I should have said, or Mussolini, or Suharto, or pick your, I go through this list all the time, pick your dictator. We're not letting that happen. And part of how you do that is let's make sure that when they talk about folks who've suffered from this regime and suffered from the behavior of these billionaires and people who came before them, even the last 30, 40 years, let's make sure that we talk about who they were. They're people, not just statistics. That is all I have tonight. I hope you enjoyed watching this episode of Tequila Talk with me, and I should say with Joe Walsh and Cliff Schechter. He's more important, so we got to do it that way. I don't know that you know, while we came in with what we always say at the beginning, maybe that's what we should say at the end, because I haven't come out with an out phrase for this, but maybe just saying, repeating the old saying that I didn't know was an old saying. Tequila, folks, is cheaper than therapy. They didn't have folks in there, but I'm folksy that way. Tequila is cheaper than therapy. Come join us here every 6 o'clock on Thursday. You will get intelligent conversation. You will laugh. We will mock people. We'll have drinks together. And we'll rip the shit out of the evil, awful people who are trying to end our democracy. But in the end, we will have fun doing it. We'll have a good time. And I just wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate all of you being here. I appreciate you supporting this show. You can subscribe. Paid subscribers, by the way, just going to throw this out there. Let's us do more of these shows. We need to, Joe and I talked about be able to afford promoters and people to promote whatever. We can hire more people. So please consider. We got a great deal. I think it was 34% off because that was Trump's approval rating. Something like that, 36% off, whatever it was. Go check it out because we're going to add some of these shows as paid. Become a paid subscriber. It's blueamp.co. And do the same thing with the social contract. I don't know the actual URL, but it's a social contract with Joe Walsh on Substack. You can find it. So subscribe to those places. And by the way, go check out, youtube.com @Cliffs_Edge. You can always subscribe there too, which is our YouTube, which we also are growing. So thank you for being here. I finally am going to get my long-winded, but not nearly Trump long-winded, my God, asked to be quiet. And I'm going to say that you should always remember, I got to say my one phrase, which is, I'm not going to say it. I'll stick with what we had here. Tequila, my friends, is better than therapy. And with that, I think we're out of here. Although I can't seem to find what I'm supposed to click on to get out of here. So I'm going to just guess. Take care, guys.